has been pictured embracing the husband of Halyna Hutchins after she was fatally shot by the actor on the set of the movie Rust last Thursday.
Well, the tragedy has reignited debate about the use of real firearms on film sets, with a petition calling for them to be banned altogether.
Well, today we're joined by Jim Dowdall, a film stunt coordinator and former armourer, alongside Sam Rubin. Morning to both of you. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good to see you. Jim, you've said there are so many anomalies, it doesn't make sense. What do you think happened on that set?
Speculation is the easiest thing, and the whole tabloid reporting of this has distorted potential truths. It would appear to me that a live round got into a gun, and I need to differentiate here because people think that they're prop guns made to look like live guns. These are real guns which are used as props. And in the case of a revolver, this is what apparently that he was using, you can put either a blank round and then a live, or we would call a ball round, into the same weapon, and it will fire both. So in that case, there's no protection to say that if we put a ball round here, the gun won't work. It will. And somewhere along the line, there were ball ammunition rounds on that set, which is a total and utter no-no in any protocol of film set behaviour. That's just absolutely out of the door. So
we're saying, because as you say, it is speculation, but could a blank, which we would know as a blank, can that cause that much damage?
No. Not unless something was in the barrel of the gun. If it had picked up a stone, it could have possibly hurt somebody, but not to the extent of actually seemingly hit the girl and then go through and carry on to the director. That's the behaviour of a live round.
So for most of us that don't work in film or understand how these things work, sort of an armourer is kind of a new word for us, really, and that is the person, like yourself, who would be responsible for this. So how, if there is somebody there who is responsible for these weapons being on set, where's this gone wrong? Well,
firstly, in this country, the protocol is there are always two armourers, so that one person is always there looking and monitoring the weapon. If somebody has to go off to the loo or have a meal break or whatever, those weapons or weapon is never, ever left unsupervised, so that when the weapon needs to be handed to the artist, the first thing you do is to open the weapon and show him or her that the weapon is empty, and that is transmitted to the crew to say, empty gun. Hand it to them, and then you do the rehearsal. Now, when it then comes to the take, then they say, right, gun is now loaded. Everybody be aware of the protocols, the safety protocols that we put in place, and we're now going for a take. So those would be the two ways that you do it. But there's always two people there.
Well, the Santa Fe County Sheriff's Office said that the gun used was one of three that the armourer Hannah Gutierrez, we'll talk about in just a moment, had set on a cart outside the church where filming was taking place. Assistant Director Dave Halls allegedly picked up the gun from the cart and brought it inside to Alec Baldwin. It's reported that Halls was unaware that the gun was loaded with live rounds, allegedly live rounds, as we've said, and shouted "cold gun." When Baldwin then fired the gun, Halyna was shot in the chest and Joel Sousa in the shoulder. Should the assistant director have touched that gun?
Absolutely,
if that is
absolutely not. Yeah. No. That's like saying to the armourer, would you give everybody start giving the actors the cue? There should be a complete delineation there. The armourer are the only people that handle the weapons, hand them to the actor and everything else. The problem is that when you go on a slightly lower budget production where everything is on the hurry up and you haven't got the money to do things necessarily as properly as you would do in a studio here, then those protocols are gradually eroded, and the speed of things. And he may have been, to help things along. Here's the gun. Here we go. Yeah. Didn't open. Didn't check it.
All of this speculation, as we know, it'll come out once the facts are known.
Yeah.
Sam, let's come to you right now, because as Phil just said, this is all speculation. There are rumours going around. There is hearsay reporting that crew members had walked off the set already due to safety concerns, that there had already been 2 misfires on set. What are you hearing?
I think this is analogous to a huge airplane accident. It is a cacophony of things going wrong. It's not just one thing, it's many things that led up to this. And while there is an enormous amount of speculation and an ongoing investigation, some of these facts are established as facts. Crew members did walk off the set because of safety concerns. They voiced them, they emailed about them, and on Thursday morning, the day of the shooting, several camera operators left. They were replaced by non-union operators. And Jim in the studio there makes a reference to the budget. This was considered a low-budget film, a budget of $6 million in total, which is a very small amount of money. And consequently, financial corners are cut. Everybody knows that. Were safety corners cut? That's going to be the focus of the investigation. But at first blush, the appearance is that seems to be the case.
What do we know about the armourer, Halyna Gutierrez, who comes from a very distinguished family of armourers? Her father is a legend in that field. And so it was said, and again, I don't know whether it's speculation or has become fact, that, that she felt that she perhaps may have been out of her depth.
Just 24 years of age, only her second movie. She was a guest on a podcast where she said, and I am paraphrasing, these are not her exact words, that she didn't know if she was ready for a movie that had the armament requirements that this did. Also, again, another item that is going to be investigated, another actor from the movie, Jensen Ackles, who people may know from the TV series Supernatural. He participated in a Supernatural fan convention talking about this movie, talking about his interactions with the armorist, and indicating that he felt things were relatively informal. And that is going to be investigated. So again, if you put all these pieces together, among the items that are certainly going to be looked at is the level of experience and the level of competency of those involved. And it seems certainly on the level of experience, there's not much experience here.
Sam, there are people now calling for firearms to be banned on film sets. There's a petition at the moment. The director of The Mayor of Easttown, the huge HBO series, said that there was no live firearms used on there. It was all props, that we have computers now and special effects, so there is absolutely no reason for this. I mean, do you think that this is the end of it, really?
Well, the very next day, on the Friday, there's a big police show here in the States called The Rookie. And the production company there announced going forward, they will never use blanks and only use rubber guns or replicas of guns. And the fact of the matter is, in the world of special effects, to replicate the flash and the sound of a gun is now extremely rudimentary and relatively easy to do. It is a touch more expensive than doing it the quote-unquote old-fashioned way. But obviously, it's money well spent. I think we are very likely getting to the point, Jim in studio referenced that rounds should never be on a set. They're going to be banned from sets, I think. And I think it's entirely possible you're not going to have working guns that are augmented to be prop guns. They're going to rely on rubber guns and replicas of guns. I mean, this is so extraordinarily horrific. Obviously, nobody wants it repeated again, and so you've got to tackle each element involved. The physical armament is certainly one of those elements.
Jim, is tackling all of those individual elements, one of them the subject of this petition to ban guns of that degree from sets?
Personally, I don't think that that's realistic. And as your colleague there is say that special effects, visual effects can actually do that optically and digitally and everything else, but it's still more expensive. And on a low-budget production, that can eat up quite a lot of money for that. I also think that there is a relationship between the actor understanding that he's got a real gun and what that projects to your audience. And if he's got something rubber and somebody in the background is going bang, bang, or he's having to... I don't think it gives the same effect. And look, if we lived in a perfect world, pencils wouldn't have rubbers on them. But I think that, you know, you come onto a set in England, and I have been doing this for 50 years, and I've never seen an accident even remotely resembling something like that. And we never, ever have live rounds anywhere near a set.
Is it, just finally, Jim, is it usual for an actor to point a gun at the crew?
if the gun is considered to be unloaded, or he's at a distance where the blast from the blank can't do any damage. If he's got to get close to the camera, then we put up macrolon shields for the camera crew to stand behind, and everybody stands to one side. But all that is coming from that gun, and depending on the calibre of the gun, is how fast you back you stand.
Sam, just finally, what does this mean for Alec Baldwin, do you think?
I think Alec Baldwin, Philip, is a well-respected actor, an extraordinary career. I think here we're dealing with two Alec Baldwins. Alec Baldwin, the actor, the man who picked up the gun and fired it, I think will not be prosecuted. I think he could resume an acting career if he so chooses. Alec Baldwin, the producer, one of the people putting this movie together, if, and I hate to use this phrase, if there is another smoking gun, a memo, a voicemail, where Alec Baldwin was clearly told in his capacity as a producer, there are safety problems on the set. And if he or others were to say, well, yes, of course, we'll get to that once we're done shooting, and sort of dismissed it, I think that's an actionable charge and incredibly problematic. That's going to be another focus of the investigation. As we're speaking right now, I believe Alec Baldwin was on that set almost entirely as an actor. I don't think this movie will ever be completed. I think he's definitely already announced he's taking some time off, understandably so. Will he work again ultimately as an actor? I think he will.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you both. Thanks for your time.